Okay, so we've done biological, social, and interpersonal. We're missing what? Psychological.
Yes.
Okay.
So, on a psychological basis, I think people underestimate the level of mental cravings, so there's a difference between having physical cravings, which is actually more withdrawal symptoms, than experiencing cravings mentally. So technically that would be, you're at work, randomly the thought pops up of wanting to use, or like you gave the example of a family event, or maybe even going to church, or whatever the case might be, and randomly the thought comes up. And in that moment, the thought is coupled or linked with such intense emotions that a person almost feels compelled to need to go and fill that impulse. So, and people often explain, they say once the craving's there, it doesn't really subside. It comes and goes, but it grows
Mental
stronger.
obsession.
Yes, that mental obsession.
So
exactly.
I think the alcoholics talk about the great obsession of any alcoholic is to be able to drink like a normal person.
Yes.
So it's like, so the obsession takes hold and we start rationalizing and convincing ourselves, okay, I'll just have one or two.
Yeah. 100, and I think that's why I say to my patients, you are technically your own worst enemy, unfortunately, because your brain knows you so well. And just almost like a lawyer or an advocate, their job is to find loopholes in a way to fit the agenda of the case. Your brain kind of goes and looks for loopholes, which it packages in very nice kind of excuses or justifications to say, but you deserve it, or you don't have another option, and as you said, it can sound like thoughts such as, no one will know, it will only be this one. I feel sorry saying no to my mate because they might be, lonely or angry if I say no. I've had a terrible week at work. Everybody else is enjoying themselves. Why can't I? It's end of the month, got our salary, it's something to celebrate. And I think that's something we also often discuss, is to say, don't just focus on negative triggers. Don't just think things like depression and anxiety and boredom. And I think boredom is a big one that a lot of people tend to overlook. But all those negative emotions, that they are the only forms of cravings or triggers. At the end of the day, you also get a lot of positive triggers, such as the fact that you are wanting to increase a level of happiness, or a level of achievement, or level of reward, or a level of relaxation.
Like, I think, so, I mean, from my own experience again, when things aren't going too well circumstantially, it's like, it can be easy, it's easier to be on guard for those kinds of triggers. But when things are going well, that's when it gets sort of dangerous, because you become complacent, right?
100%. Yes. Yeah. And I think that's the thing, is we need to look at your psychological dependency on a substance, again, on a continuum, and a lot of people will tell me eventually you get to a state where you're stuck in purgatory. Like they say, you're stuck between heaven and hell, because you're not really experiencing much positive, neither negative emotions if you continue using. Because, Brene Brown said, you can't selectively choose what you want to numb. So you want to maybe numb sadness or boredom or anger, and increase or heighten relaxation or happiness or confidence. But eventually, as you start numbing the negative, you start numbing the positive as well. And again, then you need to drink more or use more regularly, not only to feel relaxed, but to also increase units of happiness or confidence, or whichever, like I said, positive triggers there may be also for wanting to use.